Okay, that was coincidental or divine synchronicity. The song in the background here in Bankers Hall, where we are, was You Are the Reason. And it's you, not me, okay? But me too. We're all the reason. Goodness gracious. If you're an advocate, okay? I have a quick story to start this off about my friend Andrea Grace, and I'll link it below, a copy of her video talking about an advocate. And she's mentioning a friend of hers and wondering what direction he should go. It wasn't me, it was some other friend. But her reading was like phenomenal. Like I responded to her or to her video saying, my goodness, any advocate could follow that storyline and those cards that you picked. She's a divine, enlightened lady that I don't know how she does what she does, but she does it because she's the reason. Okay, so the cards that she picked, I'll just quickly mention them, and then you can look in the video to corroborate my story, is the advocate first, the warrior, which kind of bothers me sometimes because I think of a warrior as someone who wants to fight, and I'm not here to fight. We're here to work with and never against, as we'll see in what I'm going to say later. But the idea that the warrior was first, the advocate was first and then the warrior. But the third card that she picked really hit the note for me because it was the minstrel. Music, or, the catalyst, the one that brings people together. Get what I'm saying? That one really got me. I was like, yeah, you picked the right card there for any advocate, right? So the working with and not against, that's the minstrel. And no, I'm not going to sing a song right now, but I might later. I don't know. We'll see. I've been kind of a little bit shy lately on YouTube, but I'm not because we're not busy. We're busier than ever. Okay, before I go on, the last one that she picked was the wise one. In other words, always, always, always go inside, ask your higher self, not what somebody told you, not a human story. Just ask your higher self and no. So in other words, yes to your higher self and no, but N-K-N-O-W, not no. Don't ever say no unless you say thank you at the end, like no thank you. That doesn't work for me. It's okay to do that, but not just no. That's kind of negative. Okay, so go within, say yes and no. You know what I mean? Okay, so the reason I came down here today was twofold. I was here yesterday, and I'm like, this place is too damn busy. On a Friday, there was people all over the place. I can't sit down in my office and do business, or in my chair here that I call my office in Bankers Hall, bringing love to the banking system in every aspect, okay? And please, those of you who may have thought I got tore off in a different direction because I joined the Advocacy group and support them, I should do that button up there. Anyway, the Advocacy thing, the reason I'm there is not because of a store of value, another cryptocurrency idea. It's because he showed us the speed that he's accomplished, which can lead to a medium of exchange, actually buying things utility-wise, which no other cryptocurrency can do. Go into a store and go and buy something. No other cryptocurrency has that speed and that capacity. So that attracted me because the medium of exchange is very important, right? It's always going to be there. We're not going to get rid of it. Can't go back to barter and trade. We're still going to always have some form of money, if you want to call it that, which I like to think of as my own net energy yield or mother's own net energy yield. But we're always going to have some form of medium of exchange. So that part intrigues me about Versen, and also when he used the word fractal, because fractal is natural. Fractal is creation. It's not manipulation and manifestation. It is creation, okay? So you use that word, you better step up and use it properly, because it's going to affect whatever it is that you create, manifest, whatever. Fractal, really? Means it's never going to stop. It's always going to increase. Just like what your frequency should be doing. Increasing, increasing, increasing. How do you increase if you hate? You can only increase if you love. So raising your frequency is about love, and that's why I speak about love all the time as well. Hope I'm not going too fast for you today, because I'm on day 4 of my fast, full moon tomorrow, starting eating again tomorrow. Took this one a little longer than I thought I usually do. I thought it was going to be today, so I was feeling a little bit, doggy yesterday. After 3 days, for whatever reason, that's my day to try and turn things over. And I turned it over a little bit by taking some royal jelly. So it's like the honey that the queen bee eats, right? There's these little tiny vials of it, 10 milliliters. I used to take it for a while, and then I stopped, and I decided to take that again. Yeah, that did it. That brought up the energy without causing the downfall of digestion. So your energy drops when you're digesting food, right? It's pretty simple stuff. Everyone who's watching this knows this stuff already. I know, so I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are very wise, and I thank you for following along, those that do. So the other reason that I came down was due to a letter that I got this morning from a friend. And seriously, I'm in an advisory position as a catalyst, a minstrel maybe, if you want to call it that, singing my song, singing my story, continuing, never giving up like a warrior should, and continuing to say, work with love, work with and never against, in spite of the fact that many of the people I work with don't agree with the other people I work with. You know what I mean? Like, it's challenging. So the fellow asked about my position on fiat being gone and gold coming back, or, precious metals, precious stones, shiny things. Well, we all know the story there, but I'm going to read a little bit of what I wrote back to him. And this will hopefully give clarity to my entire story in under 10 minutes, if we can do it. We're up to 7 already, and I know you guys got things to think about. When asked about gold, the people I deal with work with and not against any monetary system that will help humanity. And maybe I'm the only guy doing this, but I don't know. I work with the fiat system. I work with the credit system. I don't work with government, but above government in the credit system. And then I work with, and not that I hate government, it's just they're so silly, okay? Anyway, let's move on. So we work with the gold-backed heritage accounts as well. Okay, so you see, and I work with Vertison because I like the idea of their medium of exchange and fractal ledger. So working with. The question was about gold versus fiat credit. I call it fiat credit. In my mind, the only problems with so-called fiat credit, whether that be traditional credit or the fiat cryptocurrency business, because cryptocurrencies are all fiat too, it's just money out of nothing, or credit out of nothing. The only challenges are the idea of hoarding or store of value, like I said earlier, and usury-laden debt, okay? Debt is a complete utter illusion, as I've said many times on this channel, in a monetary sense at the banking level, okay? Otherwise, it was a good addition, the fiat credit system, to the specie currency idea of gold and other shiny things having value, which is always challenged by the fact that people will never stop stealing those shiny things from each other, right? You know how that works. Which was and always will have the human temptation to steal and fight over when they're involved. However, the shiny thing value story was and still is a story of limited supply. when the truth of already mined, like stuff that's already been mined, stashed and stored gold and other precious things, and other things, on top of the fact that more within the biologically is growing biologically, and there's more that isn't mined all over this precious Mother Earth plane. Gold is a fractal element. It's continuing to grow. It's actually in you, it's one of the elements that make up this thing that you are. While the credit/fiat system is creation-based, with humans as the value, okay? So there is an aspect of creation in the fiat system because there's humans involved, right? Currently, autographs from authorities on agreements, my story from day one, and I'm not going to stop telling that story until someone gets it, because it's really simple, right? Well, the authority is granted to chosen ones, bankers inside, to manifest, and then given to chosen ones to receive it. So simple. Everybody wanted to make it complex. My God, Kaiser, you're crazy. It's a lot more complex than that. It is a very clever human story of manifestation and manipulation of the minds, layered with complexity, as well as the simple word spells of debt. An utterly nonsensical bank story and word. What I love about the credit story is that the sovereign, benevolent, wise men and women who don't fall for the nonsense are ultimately the gold and silver authorities autographing agreements. While the bank trick of giving credit or credibility to a bank for having money and receiving credit from the results in the nonsensical notion of debt. The simple fix is to know, go back to that, say yes to your inner knowing and know, and say yes to the word credit without saying no or manifesting something negative like DEBT. Sure, give a human a loan for something they want and have them promise to pay it back, giving and receiving credit. But to do that, you'd have to admit at the banking level that you hold the living trust of Earth. Trust being credibility, trust being the people trust the banking system. So, okay, if you hold that trust and you hold some assets, maybe some limited accounts from assays of gold that are, not in the government's hands, and that kind of stuff, like, okay, if you have that, then we'll give you credit for that. And then you give us credit if we want to build something, and we'll pay it back. But this ridiculous notion of usury, debt, God, I looked today and I remembered, the Canadian interest rates, okay? And I could show you this. You know what? I'll put it on the front of the thing. So I got into business right at the very bottom of this rise, okay? Magnificent rise that happened here to interest rates in Canada. Right when it was after they decided to go into the full-on credit system and start choosing and picking those chosen ones to build the infrastructure that we see nowadays in this beautiful city and all over the world. But at that time, how do we get rid of all the dreamers? Oh, let's just jack up that interest rate. Well, many of us were in that because of my age. Simple. The 80s and then the 90s, another spike. And then it started to settle down. So there's really very few entrepreneurs and business people left, but there is a much lower interest rate. Just saying, okay? So work with, never against. I think I'm going to shut it off for now. Oh my goodness, 15 minutes. Who in the hell is going to listen that long to Kaiser? Nobody, because they got so many other stories going on, and that's okay. You guys can all have your stories. We are working with and not against. We are working with the side that has chosen ones, that are in the midst of getting funding for projects. And we are working with the asset-backed heritage trust accounts that are going to be releasing funding for humanitarian projects. So I'm fine. Just had to stick with it, you know. It takes a long time sometimes. Probably been 10 years since this one Heritage Trust account guy and I have been at it, but hey, I'm still young, and you just got to keep looking after your health. Go do some fasting. That's another thing you can focus on. Your health, your longevity, your commitment to humanity. Can you do that? Peace, harmony, love, abundance, and freedom for everyone and everything, every day on my mind. Abundance, authority, health, love, and euphoria. Sorry, I got a little extra energy this morning, so that's okay, isn't it? Got to drive that energy up, because if we don't, we're not part of the fractal, conscious, ever-increasing frequency, energy, radiance, vibration of this beautiful plane we live on. See you later. I love you more and more and more. Okay? All of you.